Hi, I'm Mag, and this video is meant to be more or less an open letter to the anime Vanguards devs, since I'm sure they'll watch. Hi, Paisav, where I'll try my best to explain why anime Vanguards has been on free fall player base wise, based on my own opinions and biases, but mainly the community's general thoughts that I see all the time. This is all of respect, but if I don't do this, no one with as powerful of a voice will. They've been through this downfall before, but this time it's very different. Listen, it's dark. I just showered, so don't mind the wet hair. I was thinking of actually making this video later this week, but I just watched Perry's video, The Future of Anime Vanguards, and I thought, you know what? I should actually do this right now. The player base right now is constantly declining. The update barely broke 40k. People are throwing the name 30k around, or sorry, the number 30k around, but it was 40k. But it like quickly went down to 30. And then now it's under 30. And I mean quickly, it was like an hour or two, I think. Like I said, I just watched Perry's video and he kind of talks about the decline of Vanguards and why he thinks it's declining. But I think Perry is extremely blindsided to the actual reasons because he is a bit biased. Sorry, nothing against Perry, I like him. And because he doesn't play the game that much. Like, I'm gonna put a screenshot of Choco. He's level 238, right? Which is higher than me, by the way. But look at his team. He's using Okaroon. This is a new footage. This is from the new stories. He's using Okaroon with Marksman, and he refused to get Vanguard Sunjin Woo for months because he just couldn't be asked to play the game. So as someone that actually plays the game a lot, I try to get every single character basically, except for the Guilty Gear update. I didn't. But you know, basically no one did. This is what I think. And now Perry in his video made one very good point. This is the only point he made, so it was a pretty good point, but he didn't mention the rest. He just made one good point and just kind of left it at that, which is the length between updates. And I think that is in fact a great factor for the decline of the game. Now the update we just got, Attack on Titan, is the update 7.0. And personally, I don't really at this point think too much about the update numbers, like 0.0, 0.5, 0.1, but the anime Vanguards themselves have made a big deal of them. So having a 7.0 update be this to the community doesn't look very good because of how the devs always talked about, oh guys, don't worry, the 0.0s, they are the really big ones, they are the massive epic ones. Now, don't get me wrong, this update is fine, but I think the quality of the update is, and don't get me wrong, about the same as an ALS update. The difference being that AV updates are premium updates that actually cost money. We'll get to that. They take way longer, and they are a lot grindier. ALS updates, honestly, you can grind them in a day. They are not meant to be insane time wasters because, well, there's going to be another update in a week. They can take 2 weeks to beat, right? Anime Vanguards, I still don't have Kaguya! But that's a different conversation. The grind for EV updates is typically a lot longer, while the quality of the update is frankly the same as an ALS update. I genuinely don't see a difference. And you can say, oh, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we got a Legend Stage, all right? We got an EX Legend Stage, we'll talk about in a second. More about the EX Legend Stage, which is just a harder version of it, okay? Story. Sure, still no story skip, by the way. Banner units, all right. Boss event, that's probably the best part of the update, that we actually have a new boss event that's pretty different. And that's kind of it. So for being a 0.0 update, which again, I personally don't see the difference between a 0.5 and a 0.0. I think the 0.5 that we just got was better than this 0.0. So I don't see the difference personally. But historically, they've always said, the 0.0s, please, the 0.0s are the ones that you guys need to like really dig in, all right? So yeah, the update times. Now Perry says, and I quote, the game is too good for itself, which is just, can you believe this, Choco? That's so stupid to say. If the game was too good, taking 3 weeks wouldn't matter. People would be like, yes, take longer, King. The update is so good. The update is mediocre. It is an ALS update, but instead of taking 1 week, it took 3. Oh, but it has original OSTs. Okay. I don't care about that. I don't think anyone does. Again, this is a fine update, but let's not hype it up as the second coming, all right? It's okay, it's an okay update. It doesn't have to be any more than that, but it is hyped up to be the greatest thing ever, and that's its own downfall. Now that was the one point Perry made, which I thought was good, except the part where he said that the game is too good for itself, which is, again, Now, here's my points, and there's a couple. I think this is the biggest one. I think that the biggest reason why AV is declining, and you see it literally every single time you open Discord, you go on any chat and people are talking about this. The difficulty of the game is outrageous. Everything that they make in this game is designed to extremely inconvenience you and make the characters you spent time grinding worthless, so that the new characters feel more powerful. I don't know if it's by design, it has to be, but I don't know if it is, it has to be. But again, let's say you're like me and a lot of people that spent a lot of time grinding for Vanguard, Sunjin Wu. Vanguard units are its own separate issue, which I want to talk about in a bit. That's the song. Cutscene, I forgot. And let's say you spent 2.5k rerolls to get the Pity Monarch, like a lot of people have to a lot of the time. Well, guess what? The new event is designed to counter him the way where he doesn't have a mana bar most of the time. Basically, every character that they have been releasing over the past couple of months has a bar, a mana, or like, what is the actual name of the little bar? Doesn't matter. What matters is that the new stages that they just released are designed specifically. They just lowered Aaron's pity to 10 instead of 15 after I just went to 11 to get him. The new stages are designed in a way where the enemies actually make it so your bar goes to 0. So you can't use any of those characters effectively at all. All of the Guilty Gear characters, by the way, are designed that way. So none of the Guilty Gear characters pretty much work on this new event that just came out basically right after the Guilty Gear update. You know what character works though? Kaguya. Again, I'm gonna touch more on the Vanguard units soon, I'm sorry, but it's very difficult not to. The Vanguard units are such a big problem that not a lot of people are honestly talking about. When I talk about it, it's gonna make more sense. But literally everything that they release in this game is designed to annoy you. It's not like a interesting mechanic, it's an annoying mechanic. Let's say, for example, portals. The portal update that we just got, which was sucked to death. Do I have one? Let's see. I don't have one, unfortunately. But the Land of the God stage is insanely hard for a couple of reasons. And keep in mind, these portals are meant to be beaten millions of times. I'm not exaggerating on that number. Millions of times, because personally I am a couple of million flowers without Kaguya. Each portal drops 3,000, right? My expectation is that it's gonna take me 3,000 million. What number is that? 3 billion flowers to get. So it's millions of times. Either way, in the Land of the God stage, the bosses have regen. Every boss in this game has regen for some reason. I don't know why, they love regen. So you need to bring a bleed character. But guess what? A lot of the elements, like Cosmic, if there's a Cosmic? Yeah, Cosmic enemy. Cosmic enemies and other enemies in a small radius are immune to status effects, so you can't bleed them. So you have a regen enemy that has infinite regen. Like, you do 1,000,000 damage to them, they regen that 1,000,000 in an instant. Like, I've never seen any regen in any game as insane as Enemy Vanguards, which has to be designed to inconvenience you. Like, it has to be designed to, like, if you don't use a bleed character, you physically cannot beat this. Anyways, they are physically immune to any debuffs whatsoever. Bleed, what's the other one? The one Lancer does. Rupture, they cannot be ruptured. They are physically unbeatable. It's like, oh, just nuke them. No nuke until Aaron could beat a 10 million HP boss. You just nuke them with Jin, who will do like 4 million, and they just instantly regen. Are you gonna tell me that's not done on purpose? Because I brought this up to some testers. They acknowledge, oh yeah, these stages are unbeatable. Physically, they are unbeatable. And then just moved on. So, I don't know. Every boss in this game has regen. So you need to bring a bleed character. But the bleed characters aren't immune to debuffs. But everything in this game attacks your characters. Lowers your range like the new stage. Lowers your attack. Stuns you. All that happens in every single stage, essentially. So the game feels inconvenient to play on purpose. Like, I saw Perry in his video said, I don't know why I feel like I have way more fun playing ASCDX right now. You know why? Because the game is not inconvenient like AV. And the response that Paisef just gave to this issue, I'm gonna talk about later. It's insane. Paisef is one of the devs. I don't know exactly what he does. Sorry, what they do. Attached to the difficulty issue, my next point is the premium cost of Anime Vanguards. Anime Vanguards is an incredibly expensive game. Again, money's cool. I love money. We all love money. But this game right now is the greediest tower defense game, bar none. And they could, escape that criticism back when Anime Adventures was still a thing, but it's not. So as it stands, this game is the greediest tower defense game. It is the only game you cannot infinitely farm rerolls that is popular right now. You can infinitely farm rerolls in ALS. You can infinitely farm rerolls in AW2DX. Sorry, AS2DX. Or AW2D as well if you play that. The best tower defense. But these games have actual infinite reroll farm. AV, kind of, if you have Informal, which is a macro designed for anime Vanguards because it's so inconvenient, can barely tiny task this game. You could do daily challenges, regular challenges over and over, but they actually capped how many regular challenges you can do. So you can't anymore, really. You could, but you can't anymore. And if you make the comparison to ASDX, Monarch is 0.1% with a pity at 2,500 rerolls. 100 rerolls cost 8,000 robux. In my experience, a Monarch is on average 100,000 robux. That's a lot of money, So Anime Vanguards is a pretty, in comparison to ASDX, it's like 180 rerolls for 3,000 robux, and the chance is like 0.2 instead of 0.1. So a lot cheaper if you're buying. A lot cheaper. So is Anime Last Stand a lot cheaper. But you're probably not buying on the Anime Last Stand. That game is straight up free to play as it is. This game has a premium price tag. If you want to have Monarch characters, for the most part, unless you get very lucky, you're gonna have to buy rerolls, and that is by design because this game was meant to be an Anime Adventures relaunch. That's what it was. There's no arguing that. It legitimately, that's what it was. It was Anime Adventures relaunch, but slightly better. Now it's its own thing, kind of. It still has the same prices basically as Anime Adventures. In my opinion, this game is just Anime Adventures, but actually updating. And it has passives, I guess. As it is, compare that to the other games. ALS is nothing like Anime Adventures. ASDX is nothing like it. It's a bit like Anime Adventures, but way less than Anime Vanguards. Anime Vanguards is Anime Adventures, but like better. Like, come on, it is better. So it has the premium price tag of Anime Adventures, which turns off a lot of people. These stages that they release are made with Monarch in mind. I'm sorry, Paisef, they are. If you're lying to my face that they aren't, I'm sorry, I don't believe you. Most people, right, aren't micromanaging all of their characters at once every single time they want to be Legend stage, which by the way, it's a bit challenging, but it's doable. It's a bit challenging, but it's doable. You need to do it 75 times, for pity. This stage is hard, right? This stage is hard. You need to do it 75 times. It's a hard stage that you have to do 75 times. Not even talking about EX. I'm gonna talk about EX when I talk about Vanguards. The rarity. Portals are insanely hard. The Planamic one is a bit more manageable, but portals are insanely hard for no reason. I've never seen portals hard like this in any other game. They are designed with Monarch in mind. If you disagree, you are delusional. It's beatable with how much, yeah, it's beatable, but you need to do portals like, again, millions was an exaggeration, but thousands of times. You need to do portals thousands of times. Are you really telling me that they were like, yeah, you can do this portal thousands of times with Blitz, and it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be cool, super fun? No, it's designed so that the convenience of Monarch is like always in your head, like, oh my god, if I had Monarch, this wouldn't be so annoying. How do I know this? Well, I have full Monarchs, I Monarch almost every character, and it's still inconvenient. So there's a premium cost that this game has, the premium price tag that turns off a lot of people. And again, compared to like to ASCDX, which I was talking about with the All-Star trait, which is twice the chance, the rules are way cheaper. The difficulty of All-Star Tower Defense is not even close to Enemy Vanguards. Not even close. So it feels much more casual to play. And let's say the EX stage, I think if toned down a little bit, if it wasn't required to use Kaguya or designed with Monarch, Attack on Titan characters in mind, which just released. Come on. It would have been a fine stage. You only have to do it 10 times now. It was 15, I think. 10 times now for the Aaron drop. Sure. But look at the rest of the game. You need to do this stage 75 times for the pity. And let me tell you, I'm 38 deep. I'm pretty sure I would have to go 75 for that Aaron. But it still has that difficulty. Why? They think, oh, strategy. Strategy? You need to do the stage 75 times. It takes about 6 minutes each. What do you mean strategy? This is a slop grind. This is a head to the wall staring at the paint grind. That's how much strategy there is. It's either you have the Monarchs and the grind is bearable, or you don't and it's hell. And the Monarchs that matters, like Jinwoo, right? The Monarch that matters. Not just, if you have Monarch Gojo, still a playable character, but come on. Moving on from the premium cost. but it's still related. Everything is related, by the way. All of the points that I have are all related, just in different ways. It's all a big puzzle, and each point is a piece of it. The update picks, the characters, the passives, and most importantly, Vanguard units. This new update, Attack on Titan. Personally, I like Attack on Titan. A lot of people like Attack on Titan. A lot of people are really upset at how the characters were picked because Eren sucks ass. And he's the protagonist. And this seems to happen a lot. Update 6.5. Who are these characters? I'm sorry, other than Invincible, no one cared about anyone else. Rudius has some fans, they're weird, but Invincible was like the coolest character of the update. The whole update. Who's picking these characters? What a random mishmash of garbage. And Kaguya, I was fine with Kaguya being the Vanguard. She's like the final villain of Naruto, but a lot of people don't like Kaguya as a character. I don't like her as a character either, by the way. Terrible, terrible. The worst part of Naruto is the ending. I can go on for an hour. Man, I read Naruto recently, like a year ago. So good, Naruto's so good. And then the war starts and you're like, ugh. And then Kaguya happens and you're like, oh my god, this is awful. Anyway, 6.0. Do I even have to talk about 6.0? Do I have to? 5.5. Very strange. They only had 3 characters. One of them was the world line units. And a lot of people were very upset how Sid was done because he just wasn't that great. And no one really cares about Delta that much. I don't know why they picked only Delta. If they were going to do like a Evidence Shall update, they could have picked like all the girls. That was very strange. Like very odd picks. Why is Katakuri here out of nowhere? Why wasn't he just, I guess, left for a One Piece update? That's what everyone expected, like a One Piece update when they saw Katakuri. He just randomly tossed in. We got Sid kind of. I mean, it's John Smith. It's his his disguise. 5.0, probably the best they've done in terms of character picks. It was tons of cool Dragon Ball Z characters. The Vegito fusion was cool. This one, I basically have no complaints. 4.5 was just Jinwoo, really. I mean, yeah, the recent updates have been very strange on the character picks. I think it's Astolfo, again, randomly tossed in as the Rift character. No one cares about, listen, it's not 2014, no one cares about Astolfo. And, I mean, the passives on these characters. I'm sorry. Characters, with how the game is designed to be inconvenient, are starting to need certain things that they're not being given. Let's take Astolfo, for example, which is a Rift character. Rift characters are not easy to get. You need to do Rift so many times to get the low rate drop or to buy the guaranteed drop. And he is an extremely inconvenient character to use. Again, I don't know how many more times I need to say the word inconvenient, but it is the sum of anime Vanguards. He does some stuff, but you need to constantly be using him, which again, think about 75 runs on that legend stage. Are you really gonna tell me you're gonna be spamming abilities manually with Astolfo on 75 runs? No, you're not. You're gonna place Jinwoo and then upgrade him. That's it. It would make a lot more sense if Astolfo, which is a character that's very annoying to use because you need to click so many abilities, was good for the EX stage. That's a stage you need to do only a couple of times, but it's very challenging. Here's the thing. He's unusable. You know why? Because the EX stage has a mechanic where if you touch the boss, you lose all your range. And only 2 characters are immune to that as far as I know. Jinwoo and Kaguya. Kaguya is immune because if you have Jinwoo, she also becomes whatever this element is. Support characters are basically useless in this game unless they bleed, so they stop regen because every boss regens, or they rupture. Rupture even better because then when they lose the range to that boss, then they don't need to attack anymore. It's fine, they already ruptured. The characters are not being designed with the player in mind, they're being designed with the fun of the testers in mind. Oh, look how much fun it is to use a stuff. Why so many abilities? No one gives a shit. Who's everyone's favorite character? Who is it? It's Jinwoo! In this game, everyone's favorite unit is Jinwoo. Do you know why? He's immune to bullshit that this game has. He's immune to the inconveniences this game has, the attack lower on the God stage, all the weird random stuns, explosive enemies, the range lower on this new stage. He's immune to bullshit. Being immune to bullshit is only a characteristic of Jinwoo, by the way, because a lot of these characters that say they are immune, they aren't even immune. I used Aizen on the new stage, immune to all status effects. Are you really gonna tell me range lower is not a status effect? It's a status effect, but he's not immune to it. You attack it and he loses all his range and he's useless. Why are you making my character useless? It's mind-blowing how insane the thought process is. Again, inconvenience to the extreme is how every update seems to be designed. Vanguard units right now are so OP, they make other characters feel worthless. Aside from bleed, because every boss regens. I don't know how many times I have to say this, but it is the truth that is also insane to me that every single boss in this game regens, and the regen is so strong. I assume because they want you to grind the familiar that stops regen being so strong, this one. That has to be why. Familiars, I'm gonna touch on familiars in a bit. Vanguard units are so OP, it really puts into question why even get any other character at all. Because Kaguya absolutely demolishes the EX stage, absolutely destroys it, to the point where people are like, the EX stage? That was so easy. Yeah, you have Monarch Kaguya, most people don't have that because millions of flowers and none dropped, and you have Monarch, which costs about 100,000 robux if you aren't lucky. Why even get Aaron? Really, why even play the update and get Aaron when you know it's not worth it? Jinwoo is way better. You know why? He's immune to bullshit. Aaron is not immune to bullshit. Kaguya is immune to everything as well because of the element steal thing. Why even get the new AOT characters when you have Jinwoo and Kaguya? You're not gonna use these characters. You're not gonna use Aaron. You aren't. He's very inconvenient to use as well because you need a specific team build to even use him. So are you seriously gonna remove your Kaguya and Jinwoo from your team to use Aaron, Zeke, and Ymir? You are not gonna remove Kaguya from your team. You're not gonna remove Jinwoo from your team. Elements in this game barely work to begin with. They have this weird interaction with each other, but there's no damage increase between elements. There's no point in using a specific element for general stages other than a tournament. You're not gonna, which most people don't play, you're not gonna use the new characters because Vanguard characters are so OP. There's no point in using anything else other than bleed and rupture. Maybe slow. Honestly, no. Really only bleed and rupture. Diavolo was fine. He was good, but he wasn't that OP. Gogeta, very strong. The problem began with Jinwoo, and it is the element. The fact that he's immune to everything makes him necessary for stuff because everything is designed around the Vanguard characters. You cannot tell me they didn't test the EX stage using Jinwoo and Kaguya and were like, oh yeah, the EX stage is easy, guys. It's totally soloable. Seriously. You're gonna really tell me that wasn't what was designed in mind? It wasn't Kaguya and Jinwoo because they are perfect for the stage. So you are coerced to only be able to use Vanguard characters. So why even play the updates that don't have new Vanguard characters? This is a problem that's gonna start happening. ALS more or less has fixed that with the simple fact that elements actually matter in ALS. You do like 200% more damage or 300 really matters. So you can't just bring your two favorite godlies on every single stage and it will be fine. No, you need the assortment of godlies, you need the assortment of other secret characters. Honestly, godlies aren't that much better than secrets to begin with in Anime Last Stand. They are better, but they're not that much better. It's not even close to, it's like Jinwoo and Kaguya are at the top. They are looking down on everyone else. The only character that can compare to them is Yuha, and you need like an insane amount of setup for him. You can't really bring him on solo activities, I feel like, because you need to like make a whole team revolving around them. I wouldn't say he's inconvenient to use though, like you just need to play some rares, but like still way easier to just run Jinwoo and Kaguya. And if you start designing activities with these two characters in mind, like they are, the EX stage is designed with them in mind. You cannot tell me that isn't. It's a problem for people that just play the game casually, that don't. Jinwoo has a clear path for obtainment, which is nice, but Kaguya is a complete RNG fest of 0.0001% drop chance that millions of battles in I still don't have. Am I just salty that I don't have Kaguya? Maybe. Maybe this update would have been a lot more fun if I had Kaguya. But that's the problem. Most people don't have Kaguya. So they can't have fun on the update. They can't play the new activity, the new EX stage, because they just simply don't have Kaguya. Oh yeah, the familiars. The familiar grind is terrible. They have been designing these familiars that are must-haves. Like, I assume also they do design stages with familiars in mind because of the difficulty. The Burb, for example, is so OP. I have like 2 good ones after grinding for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of completions. Like I think 400 completions. I have 2 decent ones. Not good, decent. I've seen some way better ones. The reason why familiars suck so much is the other mechanics around familiars. The reroll, these 2 are way too hard to get. I don't know why Anime Vanguards is so stingy, but these are way too far from obtainment. Like, you need to do the Odyssey, which is a terrible game that no one likes, but you barely get any. For the time spent playing Odyssey, you barely get anything out of it. It's so bad. I wouldn't mind playing Odyssey, but I played it for an hour. I barely got anything, and I was like, okay. And the corruption. Corruption is actually more obtainable. You actually get quite a bit of these, but you can only corrupt once. And most of the time, you get garbage. So if you corrupt a pet that was decent and you get garbage, now it's an unusable pet. You can uncorrupt, but let's be honest, the only, honestly, real way of using a pet in the high content is high corruption. Like, you need a good corruption on your pet for characters to actually perform at their best. I'm telling you, the Guilty Gear characters were designed. They were designed with the Black Spirit in mind. I have a good Black Spirit. I have, after grinding hundreds and hundreds, I have one good Black Spirit that I luckily got Corruption 3 on. After getting Corruption 1s and Corruption 2s and bad Corruption 3s so many times, finally got one that's 101, and I see that, you kind of need the 125. Like, what? Inconvenient, unobtainable for most people. So you're gonna be like, oh, you know, this is for the top players. Yeah, have fun lowering the player base then. Next point. This video is long. Updates are buggy. This AOT update was fine, actually. I didn't see bugs really. There were some like posts on, oh, this was fixed. But generally speaking, AV updates are incredibly buggy. Hopefully this update, which wasn't, again, this update was not buggy, as far as I know. Hopefully this starts a trend of not having buggy updates anymore. But generally speaking, Anime Vanguard's updates are incredibly buggy. And I know tons of people don't even want to play on the first day because of that. PvP was unplayable for a while after Update 6 came out. Well, no one plays PvP at all anymore anyways. But the period that people had interest in PvP was when it first came out, and the game was not even playable really. So that is a problem. The biggest problem with buggy updates, other than, you know, the bugs themselves, is that it again makes people feel like, I won't play on the first day because we all know Anime Vanguard's updates are super buggy on the first day. I'll wait, I'll play later. And when you're talking about the player count, the first day of the update is when the player count is the biggest. If you're already telling people, play on the first day, it's gonna be buggy, you know, wait a little bit. A lot of these people might not even go back and play the update to begin with, but you're gonna have the effect where, let's say Anime Vanguard used to have 100,000 players as its baseline. If 10% of those players, which I know it's a big number, but honestly, it's considering how buggy updates used to be, it's a reasonable number. Feel like, oh, I'll play on the second day. First day is usually super buggy. Already, that's 10,000 players that you're not seeing the first day, and people on Discord are like, guys, look how much the player base is dropping. Update just released and there's only 30,000 players. Again, thankfully, this update was not buggy. So hopefully it will continue being like that. Not as big of a point as the other ones, but I think was worth mentioning. Updates being buggy was something that was plaguing Anime Last Stand, and now they aren't, and the updates have a lot of players in the first day. Speaking of ALS, it's impossible not to compare the competitors of Anime Vanguards with Anime Vanguards. Talking about the premium price of Anime Last Stand, of Anime Vanguards, and compare that to its competitors, Anime Last Stand and All-Star Tower Defense. Anime Last Stand is fully free to play. You can make the same argument of difficulty for Anime Last Stand. Anime Last Stand does require you to have very good characters with the best trait for the sake of convenience as well. Let's make the example of portals, the same example actually that I just did. Portals in Anime Vanguards are very hard, and you need monarch characters for the sake of convenience, or you're gonna just bash your head against the wall because you hate it so much. You can make the exact same argument for Anime Last Stand. You 100% want glitched characters with fairly good enchants. Doesn't need to be the best one at all, really. It doesn't make that big of a difference. But you want to have glitch characters, and you want to have decent enchants. The biggest difference is that monarchs, on average, will cost you 100,000 Robux unless you're lucky, which is a factor that you cannot really add. Like, it's just luck. You don't get enough rerolls per update for a guaranteed monarch. And I said that per update. You don't get 2,500 rerolls per update. And why do I say per update? Because there's multiple characters per update, and we don't know exactly on the first day which ones are going to be the winners, except if it's a Vanguard character, right? The Vanguard rarity. But in Anime Last Stand, you can have thousands and thousands and thousands of rerolls every single update by farming. And so you actually can have these characters with the best trait fairly easily, and you can't in Anime Vanguards. There are free rerolls, don't get me wrong, Boss event, you can get what, 40 per week? There's the weekly missions, like 20. Daily missions, like 3? 5? Quests? Daily quest? Oh, daily quest is not your heroes. My bad. Weekly quest? 2 heroes. Okay. 1. You can slave with informal on challenges. There were 30 rerolls from the codes. Rift Store? Does this reset? It does, right? Every week? If you spend a lot, and I mean a lot of time playing Rifts manually, you can get these 50, I guess, per week. Premium price. Premium price for Monarchs with about the same requirement as glitched characters. Nah, glitched characters are a lot more needed, but they are actually obtainable. All-Star Tower Defense. We have not seen any actual difficult content in All-Star Tower Defense, X, ASDX. But even then, reroll obtainment is infinite. If you haven't really played the game and you're unaware, it is. It's not as much as Anime Last Stand, by the way. It's not. No game will be. But nah, there are games there are, but no big game, I think, will be for a while. And you know, other methods of obtaining here, like the same as Anime Vanguards, is the same stages, but you don't need All-Star Trait. I don't think for any activity All-Star Trait is relevant. On the new trial, having an All-Star map should be nice, actually, but generally speaking, no. It's not as big of a deal as having a Monarch. It's not even close. If you think it is, you just haven't played the game. I have played a lot of Anime Vanguards. I have basically every character. Dude, you're talking to someone that actually grinds the game. I'm not waiting 5 months to get Jinwoo. I got it as soon as I could. I get every character as soon as I can, except the Guilty Gear characters, it can't be asked. So you compare these games and you think, why is Anime Vanguards so premium when these other games have more players and are seemingly more generous? Just something to think about. My last point to close the video is the relationship between the players and the devs. It feels like every single update, the players and the devs are fighting each other for no reason. I think the players of Anime Vanguards are very toxic. They have a very toxic relationship with Anime Vanguards. They expect a lot from Anime Vanguards, which is fair because the premium price tag, but they are very defensive about Anime Vanguards, but at the same time, very angry against its developers. And in return, the developers are very angry at their players back. Choco, if you can put on screen, this is a post Paisev, which is probably the best representation of a developer that fights its players day to day. Like, I feel like every single day there's Paisev is arguing with someone in general chat or something. Like, can you just don't. Just don't. The image you bring all the developer team to its player base is that you're very competitive, you hate its player base, and it's complete opposite to... I know I make a lot of fun of him because he is a very fun character, but the boss. Again, as much as I make jokes on the expense of the boss, he's a very chill guy. He takes criticism very well. A lot of people might not think that because of him being a bit strange, but he's very nice. He, for the most part, he's trying very hard to please as many people as possible. He does do some dumb shit sometimes. Like he did the Samsung event recently. There was that one time where he responded very poorly to the infinite stage nerfs. I remember that. It's very far in between. I feel like Anime Vanguard's devs are constantly fighting against their players instead of trying to come to a solution together. And that's very unfortunate. Choco, you can take off the post almost right away. If someone wants to pause and read, they're free to. The post that Paisev made was about the Monarch situation, which I've already touched, so I'm not going to be going too crazy on. They disagree. They think Monarchs are cool and epic, and if you want them, you should pay for them. No, that's not what it says. That's not what it says. You can pause and read if you want what it actually says. But the gist of it is that they think the game's difficulty is fine, and if you don't like it, you're a scrub. Now, if these words exactly, but that's how I read it, honestly. That's how I read it. The difficulty of the game is fine, and, it is what it is. If your player base is constantly, with every single update, complaining that the game is too difficult because you need Monarchs, do you really think that everyone is wrong and you are right? Oh no, the people that have Monarch Kaguya think the game is easy. Alright, listen to them. Listen to them. Don't listen to most people which can't actually get Monarch Kaguya, and keep letting the player base drop. Enemy Last Stand keeps breaking new numbers. All-Star Tower Defense X, I mean, it's probably going to decline a bit personally, I think, because, you know, it was really hype in the beginning, but it's not going to keep up that hype through name recognition alone, unless they really push in, which I hope they do. ALS keeps breaking new numbers. It was very impressive when they hit 100k in an update day. But then the next update, they hit 120. So why is that? And Anime Vanguards is the opposite. Every update, there's less and less players. I wonder. I just made a 50-minute video on why. So again, I know it's been 50 minutes, but I want to reiterate. I think what Perry said about the updates being too long and far between is a big factor for sure. But I think that a lot of AV glazers that are very biased towards the game, like Perry, sorry Perry, but you're very biased towards Vanguards, don't see the big picture of why most people are leaving. If you want the game to be for the minority, if you want the game to be for the whales that get Monarch, for the informal macroers that get Vanguard Kaguya, if you want the game to be for the least amount of people possible, like it's trending towards, sure, do that. That's fine. That is fine. A lot of games are like that. I think Anime World Tower Defense, which is my favorite tower defense game, is a niche game. It will never have 100k players. It won't. It will never have that. Do you know why? Because they designed the game in a way where it's, even though rerolls are farmable, everything's farmable, you do not have to spend any money on the game. It is very grindy and it's tough. The game has, unlike Anime Vanguards, it actually does require strategy, because you don't need to do stages 75 times. You need to do them 5 times, but you need actually to know the strategy of the stage. That is actual strategy. If you need to do the stage 75 times, you don't need strategy, you need Monarch. Anyways, AWTD is a niche game that will never have huge success. And I don't know if the devs intend on keeping like that, but it is the fact of the matter. It is how it is. And I like that game. I really do. It is an actual strategy game. Teams have actual synergy and it's fully free to play, unlike Anime Vanguards. If you want to keep training towards the direction, that's fine, but you will lose players. You will. And that is the answer to why the player base is declining, I think. Could be other factors as well. Could be that people are getting tired of the same game and there's a new game, All-Star Tower Defense X. They want to play a new game. That's also a factor. But then why does ALS have more players? Anyways, I spoke my truth. If you want to add more in the comments or reject my ideas in the comments, feel free to. If you want to tell me that obtaining Kaguya is a requirement for the update, if you don't, you're a scrub, then sure, please. If you do that, do not go in general chat and complain that the update only has 30k players, because you are causing it to have 30k players. All right. Anyways.